Okay.
Lamborghini GT.
Hi, meet again on your favorite channel, Shonya Studio. This time I will show you a story about the creation of the Lamborghini luxury car brand, which is shown in a film plot. A film that you must watch, especially automotive fans. Because this is the history of the true story of a masterpiece car which is astonishing, entitled Lamborghini, the man behind the legend. Tells the story of the struggle of a former soldier and son of a farmer to make a supercar, or the creation of the Lamborghini brand. Capitalized on determination and effort, until he was finally able to compete with one of the supercar manufacturers in the class of Ferrari. But yes, of course, dreams are not as easy as turning the palm of your hand. Because it has to go through many processes and ups and downs. Set in a city in Italy, in 1945, two soldiers are seen returning from the battlefield of the Second World War. They are the handsome and charismatic Ferruccio Lamborghini and his best friend, Matteo. Ferruccio, who was still wearing his military uniform, rushed to meet and immediately propose to his sweetheart, Clelia, and after that, he went home, then met his family, who of course immediately hugged him.
Ferruccio! 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 Yes! Ferruccio! Ferruccio! Yes! Ferruccio! Ferruccio!
Long story short, Ferruccio and Clelia are now married. Feeling that life's responsibilities are increasing, Ferruccio intends to build a tractor factory in the city, and will take part in racing competitions as a stepping stone in promoting his tractor later. Hearing this, Ferruccio's father, Antonio Lamborghini, became angry, because he intended to pass on his garden to Ferruccio.
Papa, I was a mechanic.
Felt that his plan was mature enough, and convinced Ferruccio to reject the plantation, and felt that his brothers were more entitled to own it. Antonio then convinced Ferruccio to rethink the decision he had taken. But in the end, Antonio immediately gave up, and allowed Ferruccio to achieve his dream.
I want the Lamborghini name to live on.
And if nobody buys your tractors,
I can make the lives of every farmer like you better. I can make the lives of every farmer like you better.
Some time later, with a red Topolino car that had been modified with a racing body and a 650cc engine, Ferruccio and Matteo take part in a racing competition called Motori. There was Enzo Ferrari giving a speech to the racers, and from here it was clear that Ferruccio had the ambition to compete with Ferrari's fame. Until not long ago, the race finally started. Even though only 3 cars were participating, it turned out that the race was quite fierce. Ferruccio was seen there, who was in charge of being the navigator, giving directions to Matteo, so he could overtake Porsche, the leader of the race. In the middle of the action, surprisingly, Mercedes, who was behind, overtook them. And because he felt that Matteo didn't have the courage to race, Ferruccio finally tried to take over the car. But suddenly, as a result of his defeat, Ferruccio also got into an argument, and even blamed Matteo. Luckily, Clelia, as a good wife, managed to make Ferruccio realize that he was too ambitious. And Clelia also told her husband that she would soon have a child.
Really?
No, I'm joking.
She's having a baby, you fool. She's having a baby, you fool.
Long story short, Ferruccio returned to meet his father in the village, and as if licking his own lips, Ferruccio even asked his father's plantation to be used as collateral to the bank, so he could get capital to build the company he dreamed of. There, Antonio, who of course didn't want to disappoint his son, finally gave the plantation certificate to Ferruccio.
I'll pay it back with interest.
But I'll give you what I have.
Clelia, who found out about this, was very angry, and called Ferruccio very selfish. Because he took away the rights of his brothers, who had worked hard in taking care of plantation. She also told her husband to return the certificate to his father, but it turned out Ferruccio, who already knew his father, would not accept the certificate back. In the end, went to the bank and met the head of the bank, Vito Rossi. Then without much ado, Vito, who already knew the Lamborghini family, immediately agreed to the loan.
It's Vito Rossi. Oh yeah.
Made a tractor design, and thought about everything together. Then it was discovered that the tractor engine they would build had a 4-cylinder 1548 cc engine, with two types of fuel, namely gasoline and kerosene, or it could be called a hybrid. Yes, from here, it can be seen that Ferruccio is very genius when it comes to designing and assembling machines.
Here's what we didn't talk about.
The next day, they went to the junk car sales place to buy a really old pickup truck, and at the right price. They immediately took the car to the repair shop and started executing it. In the midst of their busy schedule, they took the time to hang out and have a coffee at a cafe that was already a regular there. Matteo's gaze was diverted by a beautiful woman, who also wanted to order some food. Seeing this, Ferruccio taught Matteo how to approach women, and finally he was discovered. The beautiful woman's name was Anita.
That the world has ever known.
In short, the tractor they were building was nearing completion, and Ferruccio intended to create a logo for it. On the same day, Clelia, while in labor, asked Ferruccio to accompany her, but he chose to go to the logo design place. Unexpectedly, but he chose to go to the logo design place. Ferruccio had to face the bitter reality that his wife had passed away.
We weren't able to stop the bleeding.
Knowing that his son was safe, and had a handsome face, didn't make Ferruccio happy at all. He went to the workshop, and went into a rage, and destroyed the things there. But when he saw the tractor, Ferruccio suddenly realized, and promised to make his wife proud in another world. After Clelia's funeral, Ferruccio named his son Tonino Lamborghini, and entrusted him to Antonio. There, Antonio also advised Ferruccio to immediately make efforts so that his son could live a decent life. Immediately, Ferruccio went back to meet Vito, so that the bank would invest in his tractor. And after that Ferruccio met Matteo to tell him the good news.
Have you built such a tractor? Have you built such a tractor?
Some time later, they were seen having dinner at a luxury restaurant to celebrate their success. And at the same time Anita was also seen there, which immediately made Matteo fascinated. Ferruccio went out for a moment to smoke, and told Matteo to immediately approach Anita.
Tomorrow it may be true.
Not long after, Anita approached Ferruccio, and it turned out that she liked Ferruccio. Realizing that his child needed a mother figure, Ferruccio opened his heart to Anita. But on the other hand, it turns out that Matteo saw the intimacy between the two of them, which immediately made Matteo angry, and asked for 25% of the company shares, then left. Wow, this is hard.
Tonino needs a mother. So yes, I took her.
Long story short, in 1963, Ferruccio was now successful with his tractor company, and finally married Anita. It is known that Ferruccio is always busy. Anita asks him to make time for Tonino, who always gets bad grades at school.
Tesoro, you have to spend more time with him.
You look beautiful this morning.
Ferruccio gave Tonino a boat and told him a little about his mother, Clelia, but instead of encouraging him to study, Ferruccio instead told Tonino to enjoy his youth and promised to give Tonino a Ferrari.
Life is short. When one is young,
If your grades don't improve, I buy you a Ferrari.
Before continuing to watch this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. For those who subscribe, I pray that you can buy a Lamborghini, or any other luxury car that you dream of. Amen. Thank you. Some time later, Ferruccio, who was repairing the clutch of his Ferrari, was approached. A man from New Zealand, named Bob, who asked for a job. Knowing that he knew about cars, Ferruccio invited Bob to accompany him to meet with Enzo Ferrari.
Well, the disc and the plates are pretty much the same.
come.
As a customer, Ferruccio complained about the clutch used by Ferrari, and offered his tractor clutch, which was better for collaboration. But knowing that Ferruccio was a tractor entrepreneur, Enzo didn't care and seemed to mock him. Of course, Ferruccio got angry and promised to compete with Ferrari one day.
Go back to your tractors, farmer.
But your clutch does not live up to your car.
By accident, when Ferruccio and his family went to an art exhibition, Ferruccio was inspired to use a strong and invincible bull as the new Lamborghini logo.
Yet one that is as strong and powerful and as unforgettable as the bull.
Long story short, to start the super project, Ferruccio recruited scientists who were former employees of large car companies, namely Ferrari and Alfa Romeo. With the design that had been made, Ferruccio asked the scientists to design an engine with a power of 3,500 cc. Because Ferruccio's target is the Geneva Motor Show, which will take place in 6 months. Even though the scientists had doubts, because of the motivation given by Ferruccio, they were finally ready to design the supercar.
If we fail searching for greatness.
Wonderful! Come on.
Cheers.
Yes!
Considered to be just burning money for his supercar project, Anita is even angry, because if it fails, the Lamborghini company is threatened with bankruptcy. There, Ferruccio got into an argument with Anita, but still insisted on continuing his project.
Could talk, not only yell. For that matters, it's a great Lamborghini.
What do you want me to do?
3 months later, Ferruccio has built a supercar factory for Lamborghini. It can be seen that the spare parts needed are ready, including the machine assembled by scientists, which has also been completed. But when he saw that the machine used was too big, he immediately asked the scientists to get around it, and didn't want to know.
Make the carburetors horizontal.
This time it was Franco's turn to give him a very innovative car design, but Ferruccio, being a perfectionist, was very disappointed when he saw that the hood of the car was too big, and made Franco annoyed and left. Although yes, over and over again, with the motivation given by Ferruccio, Franco finally wanted to revise the design. Wow, it's true that big people are usually detailed and perfectionists.
You are a great designer. Maybe the greatest.
The sketch for the Lamborghini logo is now starting to be developed, and he gave the sketch to a designer, and not long after, finally the Lamborghini logo that we know today has been completed. Wow. There are only a few weeks left until the automotive exhibition, and Franco's car design has finally impressed Ferruccio, as well as the engine design that has been successfully created by other scientists, until finally the supercar with the name Lamborghini GT350 is now ready to be introduced to the whole world.
It must be the most beautiful car the world has ever seen.
Special is that one thing you never forget. This is what we bring to Geneva.
Started a test drive with his supercar. There you could see the tension between the scientists who were afraid the boss was not satisfied. Even though Ferruccio wanted to change the color, but in the end he felt that his dream car had come true. Until some time later, Ferruccio, along with the family, plans to have dinner at a fancy restaurant. While waiting for Anita and Torino to arrive, Ferruccio drew a sketch of the next supercar on a handkerchief. Then a beautiful woman came up to Ferruccio, and unexpectedly, Anita suddenly came to see him, alone with another woman. Which of course, made Anita very angry.
That you would never love me.
Anita.
During the quarrel, it was discovered that Ferruccio still couldn't replace Clelia in his heart, so Anita felt that her love for Ferruccio had been in vain. From there, Anita reluctantly left Ferruccio and took Tonino with her.
Go wait in the car, please. Goodbye, Ferruccio.
Long story short, finally the Geneva Motor Show Exhibition was held. Before introducing the car, Ferruccio gave Enzo a piece of paper which turned out to be a picture of a bull beating a horse.
Lamborghini GT!
It was seen that the visitors who came were very enthusiastic about seeing the beauty of the Lamborghini supercar. Then when asked about the price, Ferruccio compared the car to a beautiful and priceless woman and said,
"You buy a Ferrari when you want to be someone. You buy a Lamborghini when you are someone."
After Lamborghini was successful at the exhibition, a picture was shown where the two supercar company owners were about to start the race. There, Ferruccio was seen using a blue Lamborghini Diablo, and Enzo was using his authentic red Ferrari Mondial QV, and not long after, the race started. At first the race was very fierce and quite epic, just like their business competition in the automotive sector. But when Ferruccio tried to overtake Enzo, he surprisingly lost control, and was left far behind by Ferrari, which seemed to indicate that something would happen to the Lamborghini company. And indeed, at one point, inflation struck the world, including Italy. There, Ferruccio, as the owner of the company, had no choice but to unilaterally cut the contracts of his employees. This led to a massive demonstration demanding that Ferruccio treat all his workers fairly.
Are you with the working men and women of this world, or aren't you?
Ferruccio met Tonino, who is now married and has 3 children, one of whom is also named Ferruccio, and from this it is known that Ferruccio handed over the Lamborghini company half to Tonino, and the other half to his brothers.
You've done it all?
Half the money from the sale of the company will go to you.
After handing over his company, Ferruccio lived his old age by returning to his father's previous job, namely gardening. But the difference is that Ferruccio now has a very large vineyard. There he also reminisced about his business competition with Enzo, which was symbolized by 2 miniature Lamborghini and Ferrari cars. Then by using the O version of the Lamborghini S, he also took the time to reminisce about the difficult times with Clelia and Matteo. Well, before the end of this, there is an interesting fact, that the Fine Arts Museum in New York crowned this Lamborghini as the most beautiful car ever. And finally even this film. The end. It's true, no success is achieved easily. It all requires hard work, strong will and determination, even though we don't know whether we can do it or not, but the important thing is that we have tried, and even if we fail, we have failed after struggling, we haven't failed because we haven't done anything. You agree? Okay. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching until the end. As usual, please sorry because there are still many shortcomings. I hope you and your family are always healthy. Best wishes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.